It's Saturday morning cartoons. And speaking of Saturday morning cartoons, uh, Popeye is now in public domain. So I guess you can marry Popeye. You can legally marry Popeye. I'm not sure unless you're an animator uh, what that means. But I love Popeye anyway. Okay, the old Popeyes. When Popeye came to to television, it was, and I mean not old Popeyes that were played on early morning, uh, usually local kids shows uh, in the 50s and 60s. But when they started to make new Popeyes with the new sort of cheating animation and such, uh, I sort of lost interest in Popeye. But I like the old Popeye. Okay, I guess the cartoon strip started in like 1924. Okay, but anyway, that's beside the point. Um, I'm sitting here in the living room because I've had this little room heater on. It's very cold here, at least cold for California. It was down to 37 or something like that at night. And uh, I've already been out for my walk and my coffee and everything, but I decided to come in the living room because it's easier to heat it up than my office. Uh, in preparing for something else that I'm working on, uh, I've been obliged, or I guess privileged, to review a bunch of stuff that I've read on and off over the years. And one of the first things that I've ever read by Aleister Crowley was Magic in Theory and Practice. And this is my original edition. Now, it didn't have a star on the front of it. Okay, it had a dust jacket, which I wish I would have kept because, well, it fell apart and got all torn. But I put a five-pointed star with a circle in the center, and the circle is red. Ooh, I was being heavy in those days. But it was, I think, a Castle. Yes, Castle Books edition, which I suppose might have been sort of a pirated kind of thing. I picked it up at a bookstore on Hollywood Boulevard, and probably in around 1970, 72, 73. I was going to the Lee Strasberg Film and Theater Institute on Hollywood Boulevard, and I was there like 3 days a week. And so Gilbert's bookstore. And I bought this and the old DeLawrence pirated edition, a beautiful thing. I still got it upstairs and it's falling apart, of The Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage. So those were two pretty good books to get as sort of my introduction to magic. It would be 1975 before I joined the OTO. So you can imagine how green behind the ears I was when I picked this up. And of course, I expected to immediately learn everything there was to know about the theory and practice of magic. And if anyone, I'm sure you can identify if you've tried to read Magic and Theory and Practice, excuse me, early in your career, it doesn't all make a lot of sense at first. And but anyway, what does make sense blows your mind. And it's got wonderful things in the appendix or the appendices, uh, which are basic magic stuff. Liber O, Liber HHH. I mean, that's boot camp stuff. So, magic and theory and it was such a cheap edition that the thing, I've spilled wine on it and such a cheap edition that it just started to fall apart. But I used it in writing The Magic of Aleister Crowley. The first edition of that was called The Magic of Thelema, many, many years ago. Magic of Thelema. It was a long time ago. And so all my notes and stuff are on the side, and I put different translations of stuff and my own little marginal shit all over the thing. Let's see if I can. Kevin, there's stuff I put myself in and things, and one of the things when I started to teach out of magic and theory and practice was that I sort of relearned how to read it. Because you think I digress a lot. Crowley digresses all the time, and digressions within digressions, and they're all just pure gold. Okay, but but some of them make reference to very contemporary writers and authors and stuff that eventually move into obscurity, and makes reference to current political events and stuff, like to draw parallels of what he's talking about in magic. But in something else I'm working on right now, I was obliged or privileged to re-look at chapter 18, which is of clairvoyance and the body of light, its power and its development, also concerning divination. Well, I'm not going to get into the divination part, but of clairvoyance and the body of light, I am. Now, I don't know if you can see where I've highlighted, but starting on this page right here, you can see that there's a section right at the top there that's all in bold. And then the digression, okay, or the comment on it, okay, the commentary on it, which turns into digressions. And you can see where I've highlighted. Now, I did that years ago for a class I was giving. And I sort of forgot how cool that was. And so this morning, for Saturday morning cartoons, I'm going to go through a nice section of this, reading only the bold things at first, as if Crowley wrote those things that later appeared as bold as his own outline. What am I going to say about clairvoyance and the body of light? And then he sort of writes those things down and then goes back and digresses and comments on and expands on and dilates. And I wished I would have done that at first, okay, because I just allowed him to say something really profound that I should be chewing on, and I've allowed him to take me on these other digressions, which later, of course, would be just completely valuable. But at the moment, I wished I could have just read the bold things. Chapter 18 of Clairvoyance and the Body of Light, Its Power and Development. Within the human body is another body of approximately the same size and shape, but made of a subtler and less illusory material. Then he goes on, of course it's not real. Okay, but hang on. Let's just go to the bold. Within the human body is another body of approximately the same size and shape, but it is made of a subtler and less illusory material. The next bold thing is, there is no such thing as truth in the perceptible universe. Every idea, when it's analyzed, is found to contain a contradiction. That was bold, but even that was a digression. Now this fine body perceives a universe which we do not ordinarily perceive. Hang on just a second. Hey, Aleister Crowley, how can I develop the power of clairvoyance, and how can I connect with higher powers that give me access to a different order of intelligence? Well, within the human body is another body of approximately the same size and shape, but made of a subtler and less illusory material. Now, this fine body perceives a universe which we do not ordinarily perceive. This body, which is called by various authors the astral double, the body of light, the body of fire, the body of desire, fine body, skin leica, and numberless other names, is naturally fitted to perceive objects of its own class, in particular, phantoms of the astral plane. So in other words, you don't perceive that stuff, or at least this body does not perceive that stuff. Your astral body does, because it perceives something, everything on its own plane. So the idea is go into your astral body to see it. Okay, that's what's being hinted there. The magician can hardly take too much trouble to develop this power in himself. Now, I've highlighted this because it's a good digression. There are a great many ways of acquiring the power. Gaze into a crystal or into a pool of ink in the palm of the hand, or into a mirror or a teacup. Just as with a microscope, the expert operator keeps both eyes open, seeing only through the one eye of the eyepiece of the instrument, so the natural eyes, ceasing to give any messages to the brain, the attention is withdrawn from them, and the man begins to see through astral eyes. Wow. I've been doing Enochian vision magic for so many years, and sometimes in a group setting, very often in a group setting, where we're all, after our preparation and the call and everything, we all, for a few silent moments, are experiencing our own internal visions. And some people are just sitting there with their eyes closed. But there are others that you can just see going like this. Just like when you look in a microscope with one eye, you keep both eyes open, but your brain only gets what it wants to see from that one eye. Perfect analogy of what's going on. Okay, back to Crowley's boldness. Develop the body of light until it becomes just as real to you as your other body. Teach it to travel to any desired symbol and enable it to perform all necessary rites and invocations. In short, educate it. I'm going to go on with this for a second after the bowl. Ultimately, the relation of that body with your own must be exceedingly intimate. Before this harmonizing takes place, you should begin by a careful differentiation. The first thing to do, therefore, is to get the body outside your own. To avoid muddling the two, you begin by imagining the shape resembling yourself standing in front of you. Now, isn't that easy to do? Do not say, oh, it's only the imagination. The time to test that is later on. When you have when you've secured a fairly clear mental image of such a body. Try to imagine how your own body would look if you were standing in its place. Try to transfer your consciousness to the body of light. Your own body has its eyes shut. Use the body of light to describe the objects in the room behind you. Don't say it's only an effort of subconscious memory. The time to test that's later. Now, I'll digress for a second and say this is remarkably easy to do. Try it as you're trying to fall asleep at night. Okay. You'll eventually go to sleep and blow the whole thing, but the initial part of imagining yourself standing in front of the bed, you can look down at yourself. You can see through the eyes of the astral body. When you're seeing through the eyes of your imaginary projected astral body, you are transferring your consciousness to that. Okay, it'll be fleeting, at first, but then you get good at it. Especially when you're falling asleep, but not yet asleep. Okay, you can describe things in the room behind you because you do have the memory of where everything is. But soon that becomes almost ghost-like images, and you find yourself actually centering the center of your consciousness in that higher frequency level. Then you can walk through the wall. Okay. You don't necessarily go into the next room or through the plumbing and things like that. Well, you do in a way, but you're actually going to a higher and higher frequency of consciousness. The astral plane. Okay, where was I? As soon as you feel more or less at home in the fine body, let it rise in the air. Keep on feeling the sense of rising. Keep on looking about you as you rise until you see landscapes or beings of the astral plane. Now, this idea of rising, okay, you're not only rising in physical space, okay, when you're in that dimension, I guess we could call it, when you're in that dimension, your metaphoric movements are real movements. So rising, feel yourself almost physically rising, is also rising in consciousness frequency. Okay, you're rising to higher levels of existence, and so all your motions and everything are metaphors for what you're actually technically doing as far as the nature of the plane that you're on. That's why signs that you make in magic, turning your body into a symbol, is more than just an allegory. Well, this stands for this. No. On that plane, living things become symbols of things, but symbols become living things. And when you turn your whole body into a symbol, you're creating life on that plane, I guess we could say. As soon as you feel more or less at home in the fine body, let it rise in the air. Keep on feeling the sense of rising. Keep on looking about you as you rise and see landscape of beings of the astral plane. And such have a quality all their own. They're not like material things. They're not like mental pictures. They seem to lie in between. Okay, now I'll skip back to Crowley's bold things. Testing the spirits is the most important branch of the whole tree of magic. Without it, one is lost in the jungle of delusion. Can you imagine just the infinite number of these beings? Okay, every spirit, up to God himself, is ready to deceive you if possible, to make himself out to be more important than he is. In short, to lay in wait for your soul in 333 separate ways. Remember that after all, the highest of all the gods is only the Magus. Mayen, the greatest of all the devils. I was watching an old, beautiful, it was in color, so The Thief of Baghdad, okay, with Sabu, okay, and when the genie pops out of the bottle, it's a huge guy. The special effects are just funky, but just awesome, and this huge, fearsome genie appears, and Sabu, who's sort of like the fool, he's Aladdin. No, he's not Aladdin. He's in The Thief of Baghdad. He's a thief of Baghdad, but he's like the Magus. His innocence. And because he's a thief, he's the mercurial archetype. He's the magician, okay? And he's just a boy, and this genie is so huge, but he tricks the genie back into the bottle, saying, I bet you can't get back in. Yeah, don't tell me you're so powerful. Yeah, I bet you can't even get back in that bottle. You're so big and that's so. Yes, I can. Yeah. Okay. Remember that the highest of all gods is only the magus. Continuing on here. Now, however unsuccessful your getting out of the body may apparently have been, it is the most necessary to use every effort to bring it back properly. Okay. Now's not the time to get lazy when you're even pretending to be out of your body. Pretend to get back in, okay? It's very important. Just say, well, okay, I'm practicing this thing. Oh yeah, I'm pretending I'm out of my body. Oh, I'm pretending I'm rising on the plains. Oh, I'm getting nothing. I'm getting nothing. I think I'll just go make a sandwich or something. Get back in your body. Okay, just say, well, I'm pretending. Well, pretend to get back in your body before you go make your fucking sandwich. Okay. Make the body of light coincide in space with the physical body. Assume the God form and vibrate the name Harpocrates with the utmost energy, then recover the unity of consciousness. Harpocrates is that. That's your go-to get out of jail free assumption of a God form. That's the God form to get out of jail free. And get into it. Get into that innocent, silent child Harpocrates. When in doubt, when the genie acts like it's not going to get back in the bottle, you just assume the God form Harpocrates. Okay. Okay, where are we? In projecting the astral, it is a valuable additional safeguard to perform the whole operation in a properly consecrated circle. Now we're getting technical. The first task is to develop your own body of light within your own circle. You should endeavor to the utmost to develop and fortify this body of light. The best and simplest way to do this is to use it constantly. And I'm just reading only the bold. It is excellent practice to create symbols. This one precaution is needed. After using them, they should be reabsorbed. Don't be laying your astral symbols around when you go make your sandwich. Reabsorb them. It is one of the utmost importance to the clairvoyant or the traveler in the fine body to be able to find his way to any desired plane and to operate therein as its ruler. Okay, now we're getting really specifically technical here, because just before that, he goes through the different planes and how you can identify those planes in meditation. But I just wanted to share that much with you this morning, because that's what's been dominating my consciousness for quite a few hours recently. Wow. Saturday morning cartoons is, we're running out of time. Anyway, Constance is out on a bicycle ride, on her Saturday ride, and I guess I'll prepare for Sunday school tomorrow. Until then, continue to be good to yourself and be good to everybody else. It doesn't hurt. I have a feeling we're going to all need each other quite a bit in the near future. Anyway, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.